Hey there, how are you? My name is Dave Hebert, and I am an author here in Connecticut, and I thank you for checking out my channel and my discussion about the release of The Timberstone, which comes out tomorrow, October 1st. It is a novel that I wrote over the last couple years or so, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what this book is about, and also my process of writing it, and some of the querying stuff, and just things related to this specific project. I probably will put up some more videos talking more in depth about publishing as a whole, and what my future plans are, and discuss things that I'm sure a lot of you writers and people that are in the book world like to talk about and learn about. But let me just start with this particular book. And again, thanks for checking out my video. So The Timberstone here, this was published on an indie publisher. They're called Hear Our Voice, and they're out of the Carolinas. And so this cover, by the way, was designed by somebody they hooked me up with. Her name escapes me at the moment, but she did a wonderful job. And we went back and forth a lot about different things with the cover. And I love it. I love the colors. I love the final design. It's fantastic. The back looks pretty cool, except for the fact that my author picture, for some reason, I look like I have a sunburn. But as I always joke around with a lot of people, I pretty much always look like I have a sunburn because I'm fair-skinned and I burn easy. Anyways, so The Timberstone. This is a book that I had this idea years ago about, rock stars getting older, and you see some of them pop up on like reality TV shows and in different goofy little places. And I sort of think about like how uncomfortable and cringy it might be with some of these rock stars having to reconcile some of their past. A lot of them were womanizers and didn't really behave that well. So how do they come out of that? The ones that want to evolve and be better people, how do they come out of that and be better, better human beings? Kind of apologize in places where they probably need to and just change their behavior. So that's where it originated from. And I also love the idea of, evolution. And in this case, this is a guy named Joshua Traxon, and I intentionally named him a ridiculous kind of showbiz name. He lived in LA, and he was in this, he was kind of like a middle guy. He was a bass player, like I was, in a band. And, he got some fame because they had some hit songs and stuff. But where he really got famous was when he ended up on a reality TV show. And he likes to drink a lot, and he's, as a lot of these guys do. And they trying to bury some of their pain and trauma and insecurities in alcohol, and that's what he did. And he did a couple dumb things on TV. So eventually, between that and a tragedy that I won't get deep into at this, I don't want to have any spoilers, but he takes off from LA and he moves back to the East Coast, to Vermont, not far from where he actually was born and where he grew up. So he also has a pug, and his name is Pickle, and he's a crazy little pug. And I'm a huge pug fan in real life. I've got a couple of them. I've had some in the past as well. So he takes Pickle the pug with him and buys this house, and he decides that through a conversation with an agent and whatever, that he should write his memoirs, and he should talk a little bit about his history because maybe it's interesting to some people, being a rock star and being on a reality TV. So he says, why not? I'll give that a shot. But he's drinking more than he's ever drank because he's trying to wash away some pain, as I said. But then he meets a neighbor across the street, a woman named Laurel. She has a little kid named Ethan, and she also lives with her mom. And of course, her mom's not a big fan of the idea of this woman getting connected to a former rock star, TV, internet famous moron. So there's a lot of tension and stuff like that there. The other kind of quirky thing with Josh is he's obsessed with chess. And I love the idea of this because chess, there's a lot of drama in the chess world right now, and chess has also gotten very, very popular. So I'm a big fan of chess. I'm completely obsessed. It's what I spend a lot of my time doing when I'm not writing. And so I wanted to throw that in there. And I kind of stink pretty much. I can never seem to get my rating higher than 1,500, no matter what I do. But anyways, that won't make any sense to you folks who don't play chess. But it's okay-ish. It's better than average, but it's definitely not good. So anyways, Josh struggles with a lot of things, but he's a fairly dynamic character. But the big arc that he's going through here is, again, he's trying to reconcile his past, be a better human, realize that he wasn't always that great to, especially a lot of the women in his life, and he doesn't want to be that way anymore. He wants to evolve past that. And we're not talking about horrible abuse situation. We're not talking about anything awful. I mean, I wouldn't write about a character like that. But, you know, think about, again, a rock star. You know, a lot of these are just these sexual trysts that they have, and they don't really mean much, but in some cases it might have meant something more to them. So he's trying to go beyond that and just, you know, come out a better person on the other side. That's essentially what the, you know, and the name, the Timberstone, so this originally was called the Boo Stone. And I named it that because I had a dog when I was a kid named Boo, and I loved the dog, and he sadly passed away. And pretty much the full story of what happened is in the book, and you can read that. But I changed the name to the Timberstone because an early editor who looked at this book, she said, you know, with the name Boo, people might mistake it for maybe being something kind of spooky or even spooky fun, you know, for kids. And so I decided to change the name. So I Googled popular dog names, and the name Timber was actually a very popular dog name. So that's what I did. But I also wanted to talk briefly about my process with this whole book and how it got to this little indie publisher and what I was doing. I self-published a book that was called The Swing Over the Ocean. I did that years ago and made all the mistakes that every self-publisher, you know, will do. They rush things too far. They don't edit it enough. There was typographical errors. There was multiples in that book. Fairly embarrassing and a little stressful, but you know, it was nicely reviewed. I had a number of people, even people that I didn't know, review it well. That there was some decent stuff in there. I think there was some solid writing, but it was too long, poorly edited, a bit of a mess. So lesson learned. Now, before I get back to the process of this book, so I've already discovered one tiny, tiny little error in the new book. And I think 95% of people are going to miss it because I'm not even going to try to point it out, but it's, you know, you may miss it. It's very small. But we had two different editors go through this book. The publisher, of course, you know, did a final kind of draft thing. And it's kind of insane that this is even there. So, but this is one of those things that even the top books from the top 5 publishers, every once in a while, something or two will sneak by. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to have the file updated. But anyways, I guess the point of this is don't completely lose your mind if there's a really, really tiny edit problem or grammatical error. But if you start finding multiples, it is something that needs to be addressed. But anyways, let's go back to the process. So I wrote this book, had this idea, got a lot of the preliminary writing done. And what I did when I had probably my second rewrite done is I invited some people in my general regional area within about 30 miles on Facebook to come and be beta readers. My idea was I would get them a copy of the book, and would they be so kind to read it and then get together, this was all pre-COVID, get together, sit down and discuss it and give me some ideas, some thoughts, what they liked, what they didn't like. But I really wanted it to be people that didn't really know me at all and also that were willing to discuss it in person. So that's what I did. My experience with that was really, really good. I actually sent it out to a few online beta readers too that had like blogs, and I had one named Sharon from the Netherlands, who to this day I think is the biggest fan of my book ever. She's read it, I think, 3 times, and she absolutely loves it, and it's, you know, makes you just, you know, you get goosebumps that she really was that drawn to the character and the story. But these folks in person, this was a really great thing. One of them turned out that they did know who I was, and excuse the squeaking chair. They all came. It was all actually, there was a friend of mine, somebody I work with, who insisted he wanted to read the book. So I had him come too, but the rest of these were women that I did not know, except the one that just coincidentally I said I knew from high school. We all sat down and they were very, very complimentary about this book. They were very kind. Most of them, I mean, pretty much all of them said they really enjoyed reading it. They would tell a friend to read it. There was a couple things we discussed about just how quickly certain parts of the plot advanced, some of the realities of, you know, could this happen like this, whatever. And those are all things that I took to heart. I tweaked things, I tuned it up, and I implemented pretty much all of those changes. So that process was invaluable. I mean, it was great. It was a nice little ego boost to hear so many people talking specifically about parts that I've written that they did love and that they wanted to read again and made them feel a certain way. So that was great. But for me, this was certainly not about an ego boost, because there were some things in there that there were some challenges with, or that people thought were not perfect. So, but it was very nice to hear, but I did take all their feedback to heart, and I worked on all that, and I think a better book came out on the other side. So I did a lot of querying, and with the querying, I think I got a total of, I can never remember if it was, I think it was 3 full requests and a half request, like a partial request. One of the full requests, never heard from again, like literally never heard from again. I emailed this agent again, never heard back for an update. The partial request, I heard that they decided that it just wasn't a fit for them. Is what it is. One, the full request, I ended up getting an agent out of it. The other one, we finally touched base, and she just said, I haven't been able to get to it. I said, I already think I'm going to sign with somebody, so that just kind of fell apart. But not horrible. I mean, I sent out probably 60 queries, in total. So I got 3 fulls and a partial, and I ended up getting an agent. Now, here's the thing with the agent. So she was newer to this agency. It was an international agency, very well-respected agency, somebody that I talked to at length, the owner, at one point when this whole deal sort of fell apart. So she was a very, very big fan of my book. She was a very big promoter. She actually got my book in front of all the big 5. And this was the heartbreaker. There was one that was, you wouldn't say it was the top 5, but there's certainly probably a top 10 publisher. I saw the email exchange, and it was like, it was in consideration. It was like, we like this, but it's very similar to something else we're making a deal on. There was nothing about the book itself that was like, hey, this isn't good enough for us or whatever. It was literally something in consideration. So that was a little heartbreaking, but long story short, it just didn't work out. And this agent ended up deciding to leave her agency and go off and do her own thing, not in that realm completely. So I was once again without an agent. So in this process of submitting it to some indie publishers or whatever, I hooked up with this indie publisher, this company called Hear Our Voice. Primarily seemed that they did children's books, things like that. But she's been great. Her name is Stacy, and she runs this company, and the process has been fantastic. It's indie publishers. You're not going to have the budget. You're not going to have the team of people going through your stuff. But she hooked me up with an absolutely beautiful cover designer. As I said, I really like how this came out. The editor, her name is Yvonne. Fantastic. I mean, great feedback, just some great ideas from a conceptual standpoint, the grammatical stuff, other than this little piece. Because here's the thing you have to remember with indie and small publishers. In most cases, you have an editor, and they suggest all these changes, these track changes, and then they send them to you, and you're responsible for updating that, which I did. And then you send it to the publisher, and then, little tiny things that I may have missed could certainly be missed by the publisher. So, again, there's not a team of 20 proofreaders going through this thing. So lesson learned again, but, regardless, this experience was great. And anytime somebody's willing to say, hey, I like what you wrote enough to spend my money to get this thing rolling, I mean, come on. I mean, that's like an absolute dream come true for anybody that's an author. So we'll see what happens going forward. But again, I'm not really concerned so much about the edits. The book's laid out really, really well. I like how it came out, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of errors or issues in there. So my plan going forward is, I don't know, I'm doing some promotion. I'm doing some of the book tours and the little things that you do, or blog tours, some promotional things and that type of thing, to just get my name out there, promoting tweets, running ads on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But going forward, I think like all of us authors, I would love to have an agent. And I think with my next book, which is going to be primarily focused on a female assassin, I think with that, I'm going to definitely try to query that and get myself an agent again. And we'll see how it goes with this publisher, if maybe instead it goes in that direction and we do something with them. But having an agent, I think, is huge, because you're always trying to get that mass market appeal. Now, I've heard many stories about people with little books like my own here that ended up landing a deal because they sold enough of their self-published or indie published books. I certainly hope so. But the thing with my novel is a lot of great feedback. As I said, I'm very proud of it, but this isn't reinventing the wheel. This isn't a story that everyone's going to go, wow, wait till you read about this. It's just basically a romantic dramedy, with a main character that these days is not in the best of favor, like men that have just kind of been shitheads with in their past. So, as I said, there's definitely evolution and growth, but I don't expect that the hordes are going to come banging on my door saying, this is the greatest book we ever read. But I'm very proud of what I did. I enjoyed it. It was a great process. So for me next, it's going to be this assassin story, as I said, and for now, I'm just going to gauge how things go with the advertising and the marketing of this current book, which include, like I said, Facebook ads, promoted tweets, Instagram posts. I even did some TikTok stuff, which I'm completely clueless on.
TikTok? What?
So that's where we are with the Timberstone. But if this sounds intriguing to you in terms of the content or whatever, like I said, I'd love you to check it out. It is available wherever you can get books, certainly online. Amazon and Ingram Spark is the big book distributor and printer and that type of thing. But if you go to Barnes & Noble, you can order it. So my name is Dave, and again, I really thank you for checking out this video. I'm certainly going to put more up here on my author channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. But thanks for coming by, and please check out the Timberstone, and good luck in your own writing endeavors. Take care.